Today I'm going to be doing an unboxing of this new 100-watt solar panel kit. So it's by this company, MPPT Sun, but you can get these on eBay. So there's plenty of resellers on eBay who will sell you the kit, and they've got them in stock. So let's get the box open. Right, so that's the main component, which is the 100-watt solar cell. Get this out. So that is the 100-watt solar cell there. Let's just put that to one side for a minute. See what else we've got. Now, this is a solar charge controller, which actually seems quite small, but it should do the job. So that is the controller there, which has got an LCD display and a few push buttons to adjust the settings on it. So basically on the underside everything connects into these terminals here on the underside. So you've got the solar panel connecting, two connectors for that. Then you've got the battery, which is necessary to store the charge from the panel. And then you've got the load just here, which could be something simple like a light, or it could be a USB powered device. There's a couple of USB slots there. So, as I say, it's only a small unit, but you know, it's all electronics. It does the job of regulating the output from the panel. Because when we do a test, you'll see that the panel is not necessarily exactly 12 volts. It could be higher than 12. So what the charge controller does is it will maintain a voltage at a constant output, so that when you do actually connect something, it's not going to be the wrong voltage for the component that you connect. So these are the connectors to connect the panel onto the roof. So it's going to go on the roof of a shed, and there's four metal connectors there to secure that panel to the roof. In here there's a little instruction book about the using the charge controller. So it is actually in English, which is good. So it's got various settings that you can run through by pressing some of these buttons here. You can just monitor some of the settings, make sure the output is correct, or make sure it's actually charging the battery. those sorts of things. So that's a useful little instruction guide there. So that's the main component, the actual solar panel, and on the back of that, let's have a look, it's got the cables, which I think they're 2-meter cables, so it should be long enough to stretch from the top of the roof going inside the shed and then down to the controller, which will be mounted on the side of one of the interior sides of the shed. Right, I've now got the clips attached at the sides. So there's 4 clips, as I say, and that is ready to be mounted onto the shed roof. So there is the panel ready to be fixed in. Just got to screw in these. It's mounted in a spot where I'm estimating the sun is going to get the most sun, because to the other end of the shed there's more trees and it will be in more shade. This end of the shed is guaranteed to get more sun, and the sun is actually behind me, so this in front is actually northeast, so it's kind of southwest behind me. You know, it may not be a perfect alignment, but because it's towards the south, it's going to get most of the sunshine during the daytime. That one's through. Try this one. That one through. Get spanner for that. Okay, so the bolts are in now, and they can be secured with the nuts inside the roof. Right, now the solar panel is firmly fixed on the roof, and these wires, if you can see them, those 2 wires are the wires coming straight from the solar panel. These 2, the red and the black. So I'm just going to connect it up to a voltmeter here, which the setting on that is up to 200 volts DC. So let's just connect that up, red to red, black to black, and see what we get. Oops. See what we get. So that is actually measuring, I don't know if you can see that, it's 22.7 volts. 22.7. So obviously that's a lot higher than the 12 volt regulated supply which we want to come out of the system. So that's where the voltage regulator comes in. Okay, let's have a look inside the shed. And here I've got the battery, which is the marine type of battery, which means it holds a lot more amperes. I think it's 100 amp hours, 100 amp hour battery, which is a lot more than your standard car battery. So the reason for that is that obviously you've got charge in reserve for the times when, you know, the panel might not be charging so much when it's winter time or very cloudy or dull weather. So that's the battery. Now the battery connects up here to the charge controller. So that's the charge controller that came with the kit. And on the left hand side you've got these two wires here, which actually feed up, connecting to the solar panel outside. So they're obviously the most important connections to connect the solar panel and the battery. And on the right hand side you've got two terminals here to connect a load, which will be 12 volts coming out. And then up here you've got the USB connections, so you can connect USB devices there, which is about, I think that's 5 volts output. So that's the basic wiring of the system. So basically the solar panel up on the roof generates wattage that feeds into the controller, and then the battery receives power, receives wattage from the controller as and when it needs to. So there is, I think there's a cut-off or a float when the power charging reaches a certain amount. If the battery becomes full, then it will just cut off and not keep overcharging the battery. So that's basically how the system works. And obviously you can plug various different things into the system. Now what I've got here on the left hand side, this switch is wired up actually down here to the battery. So that switch is controlling 12 volt lighting circuit. So the actual lighting is wired actually up here on top, and it goes into this LED tube here. So let's just try that. If I flick on the light, that's working direct from the battery. So if the battery has sufficient power in it, that will always come on. It won't go through the controller because it's already a 12 volt system, and 12 volts is coming out of the battery anyway. So that is something that will just use a bit of power from the battery, and obviously during sunny days or during bright days the battery is being recharged.